Hi everyone, happy Saturday. This is Siobhan Perkins here at Madison Reed. I am the manager of training for our color bars, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're not going to do a demonstration per se. We are going to talk about the language of hair color. So we're going to talk about some of the terms that you'll often hear asked from your colorist, or you will see on our site, or maybe you have seen these terms when you're taking our color advisor quiz and you're not quite sure how to answer them. We're going to help unlock a little bit of that for you today. This is going to help you get the best products for your hair and kind of better fine-tune what it is you're looking to do and how we can achieve that for you. So we're going to start with this is going to be really sort of kind of basic hair color 101. So you don't have to be a licensed cosmetologist to understand this. We're going to simplify it. We're going to make it so that you see these color terms and you know exactly what you're being asked. So the first hair color term that we want to go over that's going to help you get the best results possible is knowing your own natural level. So you will be asked that in our hair color advisor. You will be asked that, or you'll hear your professional colorist talking about it. And what that means is the color that is growing from your scalp today. So lots of times with clients, they'll think that their natural hair color might be referring to the color that they were born with, or their color at youth, or what their hair color used to look like. But what we're asking when we're making a color recommendation today is, what is it that you're actually covering? What is the color that you're coloring over? So what I want to direct you to is, I have my friend here who I have freshly colored. Now, we colored half of her hair, and then we left half of her hair with gray in it, because I want to illustrate what we're looking for when we're talking about looking for your natural color. So when you're dictating what your natural color is, here I've left, I don't know if you can see this super well, I've left a little bit of her root undone to match this side. This is what we're asking about here, your natural level. So one thing that's really important to understand about permanent hair color is permanent hair color in general actually will only change your hair from about 1 to 2 levels from that starting point. And that means even going lighter or darker. So sometimes we'll think, if we're going darker, what does it matter what our starting point is? If you're going darker, you can go from blonde to super dark brown, right? Well, that's actually not correct. You sort of need to build pigment back into the hair on your way to going darker. And when you're going lighter, permanent hair color typically will only move you about 1 to 2 shades lighter than your natural. So that's why it's important for us to sort of understand what we're being asked when we are being asked for our natural color. The other thing that's really important to understand is natural color changes over time, right? So of course, probably the first thing that we think of when we think of our hair color changing over time is we think of going gray, which is of course something that happens, and that's part of it. But another thing that happens is lots of us get darker over time. So if you used to be blonde when you were younger and you notice your hair getting browner and browner over time, that is totally natural. Another thing that happens is that sometimes our hair will get sort of like dustier or ashier looking. We don't have that same gold, juicy, rich pigment that we used to have. So this is important to pay attention to, because if you've been using the same hair color for a really long time with good results, and all of a sudden your color is not quite performing like it used to, we might be dealing with a different starting point than we were when we first started using that color. So it's important to continually kind of check in and take that color advisor quiz again over time if you've been still using that same color. It will help you establish, am I starting from a different jumping off point, and should I be expecting different results? So that's what we mean by natural color. The other important term to sort of keep in mind is you'll hear us talk about existing color or artificial hair color, meaning what is it that you have? So here for her, what is it that is already there, right? What has been deposited on the hair? So one of the golden rules of hair color is that permanent hair color doesn't lift, lighten, or remove other permanent hair color. That's actually more of an action that you'll get with highlights. So if you've already got pigmented hair, if you've already got a deposit of hair color here, so let's call this a level 4, a dark brown in hair colorist terms, we would not be able to just simply put a blonde permanent color over that and lighten that color. We would need extra help with that. We might use something like a color remover or highlights or something that would get through that color. But you won't actually be able to lighten already pigmented hair color. So if you've ever taken our Color Advisor quiz and answered that you have previously color treated hair and you're not getting recommendations of lighter shades, that is why. We're just sort of making sure that you don't use a color that's going to give you no results or disappointing results. Another thing that using lighter hair color on previously pigmented hair can do is if I were to put a light brown color all over her hair, it would lighten her natural root a little bit, but then it would do nothing here. And one of the hair color terms that you might hear often is something called hot roots, and that's one of the ways that that is created. So in order to veer you away from any hair color oops moments, we recommend that if you're using permanent hair color, you're matching the shade that you have, or maybe you're going darker, or maybe you're changing the tone. So we'll talk a little bit about tonality. Tonality of hair color is what the hair color character is. What's the personality of the color? So whereas we talk about levels of darkness in numbers, you'll hear this a lot with professional colorists. You'll see this on our website, something like 6 NGV, right? Colorists talk about levels to talk about how dark or light a hair color is. So that would be a medium brown with some natural for gray coverage and some gold and violet tones to make the hair appear really rich and complex. So we have those tones in there for you so that they kind of play off of each other and create a really customized look. So when we talk about tone, I'm going to use some of our glosses to demonstrate what I'm talking about. So just on a white paper towel, I'm using one of our copper glosses. This is called Canela, and this is a beautiful tone to add on top of brunette hair or red hair if you just want to add a little bit more of a copper enhancement. These are semi-permanent and these come out in 6 to 8 washes, so it's a really nice way to add a little bit of something different or enhance a tone without making a permanent change to the color that you have. Okay, so on the other hand, we have our espresso gloss, which is for darker brunettes who are trying to fight brassiness or unwanted red tones in hair. Okay, and this comes out looking sort of darker and with a cooler tone to it, and that is what helps to neutralize the red that you currently see that brunettes are often trying to fight. So we talk about tones in way of enhancing the color that you do want to see, like I want a little more gold, or I want a little bit more of a bronzy or copper or red effect to my hair. You can use glosses to establish tone. You can also use them to neutralize tones that you don't want to see. Blondes and light brunettes often are talking about fighting yellow. They use purple-based products like purple shampoos, etc. And so using a cool-based gloss or toning glaze helps to neutralize that as well. So when you're asked about the tones that you want to see in your hair, that's more what we are talking about, is sort of how do you want the hair to appear? What kind of reflection do you want to see from that in natural lighting? So with this is a dark brunette with golden tones, and you can sort of see that reflection popping off of the light. It's not flat, it's really complex, and you see a little bit of warmth to it. And that is a golden tone in a brunette hair color. So you don't necessarily have to go all the way red just to add a little bit of warmth and dimension to the hair. So I hope that these terms kind of help you when you're going in to take your color advisor quiz, or when you're speaking to one of our agents and sort of helping to better understand what the best product recommendation is for you. Just as a recap of what we've talked about, we talked about natural hair color, which again is at your root, and check in with that often as it does change. And that is sort of the jumping off point for which we can change you about a level to 2 levels. The other thing that we talked about is your existing color, or what pigment is already on the hair. Remember, permanent hair color doesn't lift other permanent hair color. So if you have pre-pigmented hair, we are usually talking about terms of matching that pre-pigmented hair, going darker than it, or highlighting over it, because you can highlight pre-pigmented hair even though you don't lift it with other permanent hair color. And then finally, we touched on tone, which is the characteristic of the color itself. Gold, red, mahogany, cool tones, those are all tonalities that help add richness or neutralize unwanted tones that you don't want to see in the hair. So I hope that this sets you up for success. Please let us know if you have any questions. This information is also explained in the color advisor as you're taking the questions on our site. It will walk you through this, but this is just one more opportunity to have a hair colorist with you to kind of give you a nudge in the right direction. All right, happy coloring, good luck. I hope you guys have a great experience. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we are here for you. Happy Saturday. Bye, guys.